controversies. I certainly do feel that in a democracy like ours, the opposition leaders could have been there. It would have been a nice thing. I was there more in my capacity as chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament. It's a shame that that happened. A courtesy we extend to visiting heads of state and government to have a banquet for them. The President made a very gracious speech, and President Putin in turn was very warm in his reply. There were a large number of Russians, I think, selection from their delegation who were present, and there were a number of senior Indian officials. I don't want to get into controversies. I certainly do feel that in a democracy like ours, the opposition leaders could have been there. It would have been a nice thing. But nonetheless, I think I was there more in my capacity as chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament, and I must say I had some interesting conversations. I'll leave it there. That's all it was.
Your own party people actually don't seem very happy that you visited there and others.
I think they've spoken, and I don't want to, as I say, wade into a controversy. I do regret that some of them were not invited. It's a shame that that happened. But as far as I'm concerned, I did not think it would be appropriate to reject an invitation from my Rashtrapati to attend a banquet in honor of a foreign president when I have a job that entails my involvement in foreign affairs issues. That's all. Thank you. I really don't want to go on about this. Thank you. Thanks. 2 minutes are up.
A very important private bill. Sir, you raised a very important private bill in Lok Sabha, that is marital rape. The country has debated a lot over it, yet why do you think that this should be debated?
No, because the fact is that women are, frankly, victims of what is essentially violence. It has nothing to do with marital love, or it's often the infliction of assault. We've heard large numbers of cases of people who are living separately, husbands who have separated or even abandoned their wives, who can come back and rape them with impunity because the law means they cannot be punished. All of these things have been created as a result of a very old-fashioned patriarchal attitude, which we need to overcome in a modern society. I believe we do need to give women the right to be able to protect their own bodily autonomy, their own agency, to say no when they mean no. And certainly, in this particular case, it is merely a question of striking an exception from the law. Rape in our country is illegal, and rape is defined very strictly. The only exception written in the law is for husbands. Until a divorce takes place, they are still husbands and they can do what they like. That has to stop. That exception should be removed. And then, in a marriage, normally sex takes place out of love. It does not take place out of violence. Violence is what rape is about. It's not about love.
Thank you. Sir, final question that the Prime Minister gifted Srimad Bhagavad Gita to President Putin, and Mr. H.D. Kumaraswamy, who is a former he is Union Minister, he recommended that this should be added in the education curriculum. But here in our Chief Minister calls it a Manuvad. How would you react? Because I have heard a lot of time talking about...
No. When I published the great Indian novel in 1989, which was a satirical retelling of the Mahabharata, I already made the point that because we're studying in English medium doesn't mean we should not know our epics. I think there's no problem in reading in our school days the Mahabharata, the Ramayana and so on, and the Gita is very much a part of our ancient civilization and history. To give it in Russian means conveying to another culture some of the essential lessons that we have learned from our civilizational heritage and spiritual heritage. I see absolutely nothing wrong in that. It's not an attempt to convert Mr. Putin to Hinduism. It's a way of just showing him something that he can understand in his language. It's a fine gesture because it reflects what we are. If you look at Mr. Modi's gifts that were publicized in the papers, that was only 1 out of 7 or 8 gifts. And there are very many other things, from Assam tea to silver objects, handicraft and so on. So we are giving aspects of our culture to a foreign visitor. There's nothing wrong in that.
But why there is criticism in the own country?
I'm not criticizing, so why ask me?
Mr. Siddharmaya
end now basically because there's too much of language going on everywhere rather than progress and development. Do you think it's high time we end the language war now?
No, as far as I'm concerned, all languages have a place in our culture. We are a multilingual country, and I think we should celebrate every Indian language, give it pride of place, including English as an Indian language.